we've always seen the benefit of kind of the ecosystem play and the mutual benefit from being a part of that. So the way that the platform works, we see aggregation, and if we look at, say, just data aggregation, really is just utility. It's just a way to get things, information into the platform. The real benefit and the real value derived from the platform is then what you're doing with that aggregated set of products or a set of data or whatever it may be, and that's where the platform intelligence or data enrichment layer comes in, because you're starting to derive some value from the set of transactions, the aggregated set of transactions or aggregated set of products, and it's that middle piece which is the real value creator, is what you're doing with that, how you're arranging the introductions between one side of it, which is stuff coming in, and the other side of it, which is fulfillment of products or services. And that's the vision of what Bud is, and that has always been the vision of what Bud is, and we'll kind of continue that into the future. It's like the shopping mall of the 1980s. If you want to be within the ecosystem, you need your shop front within that shopping mall. And if we think about Bud as the shopping mall, then we would like as many product providers to have their shop front within that platform. And so at some point in the future, whenever that may be, that's where we see there being real kind of benefit from an ecosystem play. So the way we're looking at it is, there's some of what we do is quite labour intensive, from a technical perspective, from an operational perspective, from a legal risk and compliance perspective. And so when we're looking at entering new markets, things like our intelligence layer it's unregulated activity largely, and it's really flexible. So we had a case study where we worked with an SME based in Norway, or within an SME banking space of a Norwegian bank. And we retrained some of our data science models on Norwegian language data in about 4 to 5 weeks. And so we see that as something that we can enter a market with and just provide a kind of value on top of the current data set that exists within the bank. And so when we're looking at new markets, that's the kind of entry point. There's then the aggregated data sets, so the things that are beyond what the bank sees within their own silo, and that's generally driven by open banking and the development of open banking APIs. And so any market we're looking at now as a kind of front runner are those that are kind of looking to implement open banking. So Australia, Hong Kong, Canada, South Korea have just announced it as a pilot, and so on. And so that's an obvious play. The labour intensive and the high regulated part of what we do is then the kind of distribution of the third party products through a marketplace. And so for us that's about, okay, what relationships can we take from what we have here cultivated in the UK and reapply into new markets? They might have a presence in those new markets, they may be a global brand, or do we need to go and identify specialist product providers within those markets? And that's probably a bit of a longer lead time for us. But I think based on the relationships that we have with banks like HSBCs, it opens up a lot of doorways into new markets. Our investor base is, apart from HSBC, we also have investment from Banco Sabadell, Investec, Goldman Sachs, and what those allow us to do is strategic investments, is just open doors. Even if they're only halfway open, at least it gives us a foot into that market. And so yeah, I think that's it. It's scaling the stuff we can scale really quickly, and then everything else doing it based on where the business case lies. So that might be commercial relationships, it might be a favourable regulatory environment, or actually just an advanced ecosystem of APIs. The richness of the platform comes from a kind of breadth. So the more product diversification you have within the platform, the more choice you're able to offer, one, to the bank to be able to select the right product set for their requirements, and also to the end customer. And so the network effects is really around, we get more APIs built into it, we get more aggregated data coming in, we can do more with that data and introduce or arrange to a kind of broader array of products or services. A bank's procurement process is quite difficult for a lot of small, young companies with a runway to get through. And so we saw an opportunity there that if we could get through that procurement process ourselves, we then open the opportunity to a platform of other ecosystem partners. And so, of course, every single bank will need to vet the products and services that are being put into their specific instance. But that was definitely what we thought was, okay, you know what, we open the door to a platform where you're not having to do procurement for 8 or 10 different providers. You do it with Bud. You open up the doorway to that, network, and then we allow lots of different providers to come in.